Today on V8 Extra, it's official. We've got a serious struggle erupting for the championship. 2 wins each and new tracks, please. Old mates and rivals, Whincup and Davison are trading knockout blows, and it's only April. We'll drop into Team Vodafone with Mark Larko with some new video evidence of the Lowndes crash. The covers are off the new Nissan model, set to join the series next year. And we'll take you for a quick spin of all the latest to put a full stop on last weekend's Tasmania Challenge. That's all ahead today on V8 Extra.
Hi everybody, and thanks again for joining us on V8 Extra, and might I start by saying Happy Easter. Hope you haven't been hooking into too much chocolate today. Well, last weekend, the Tasmania Challenge, as you know, we had a great battle down there on both days, races 3 and 4 of the championship. Beautiful weather, intense racing. So let's get in the mood and have a look at the highlights of races 3 and 4 to get started.
So Winterbottom to start on pole. Davison clearly shoots ahead. Jonathan Webb spins around down at turn 4. Oh, this is so dangerous.
That is wild. That's 260 kilometres an hour. And 1.5 length. And that's a big moment for Tim Slade. Looking for the crisscross. Yep. Oh, sideways. Got him. Got him. He's coming out of the pit. And here he is. Oh, that's close.
Oh, he's going to load him.
And he's upset. Oh, you don't need to do that.
So it's only early days, but the Blue Oval boys are having a ball.
Yeah, boys.
Davison got a fly yesterday. They'll go side by side through turn 1 and 2. But Lowndes wants to argue the point.
Lowndes has got track position and watch for Winterbottom as well. Van Gisbergen wants to round him up on the outside.
Very good start. It's slippery offline. He does it. Dives down the inside. Very good braking. Can he make it?
And there's more drama on the track. So that would be Jamie Whincup at turn 4, smoking it up. He's done a big 360.
That's Safeway car park stuff.
It's close, but Davison prevails. Again, he creeps over. Yeah, that's going to end in tears.
That's what it is.
Look at that.
Was caused by Will Davison moving over.
There's not many times you'll see Craig Lowndes without a smile on his face. Here we go. Change for the lead. Unbelievable. Side by side. Jamie's got a great position under brakes.
Meanwhile, Shane Van Gisbergen is having a look at Will Davison.
Oh, look at the frenzied look on him. Mark Winterbottom's face finally gets it going. Oh, stay on!
Whincup had to fight for this victory.
So let's check out the leaderboard at the end of all that. Race number 3, a Ford Performance Racing 1-2 for Will Davison and Mark Winterbottom. Couple of interesting noteworthy things here. David Reynolds, good performance in 6th. And how's the performance, Todd Kelly, with a bung left foot, grabbing a position in the top 10. Race number 4, Jamie Whincup strikes back with the win from Shane Van Gisbergen. In good stead as we head into New Zealand. Timmy Slade, great performance. Quiet achiever, Michael Caruso next in the queue, and I reckon James Courtney would have been relieved to finally get a result up and get some points on the board. OK, let's have a look at the points situation at the moment. It's an 18-point gap between Will Davison and Jamie Whincup as they continue their seesaw battle. I think we're going to be in for a ripper championship. And looking further down, Winterbottom, Van Gis, Tander, Holdsworth, Slade, Lowndes, Fabian Coulthard and Todd Kelly. Now, we also like to tidy up results where we can here and there, and after race number 4, the stewards' report came out and Garth Tander for his indiscretion right here on David Reynolds. That little one there cost him 25 championship points. GT wouldn't be too happy with that. We all know what happens at the end of the year. Those points become vital. So a little adjustment to that table there for GT, 25 points. All right, big weekend for Team Vodafone. It was a 1st and a 3rd for Jamie Whincup, a 5th, a pole and a DNF for Craig Lowndes. A big post-race talking point. So what we're going to do is go to Queensland now. Mark Larko's on the line at Team Vodafone. Larko, it was a weird one for those boys.
Mate, it certainly was, and I've managed to make my way into the nerve centre here. We've got, there's RD over the back. We're going to try and grab him, mate. I want to hit him with some stuff about their weekend, some of those incidents we saw on track, and a little bit about the sport. Hang around.
All right, let's leap down to the other end of the country now. Big news last Wednesday in New York. Nissan announcing the car that they'll use to join the 2013 V8 Supercars Championship. He's at Jack Daniels Racing. G'day, Aaron Noonan.
Yeah, they sure did, Neil. Very big news on Thursday morning Australian time this week with both Rick Kelly and Kelly Racing Chairman John Crennan in New York. The brand new model Nissan that they'll race in next year's V8 Supercars Championship was unveiled. We'll chat about that a little bit later in the show with Todd Kelly, who'll join us. And also we'll see how his foot's faring. So we'll check back in with you in just a few moments.
OK, boys, we'll look forward to hooking up with you a little bit later in the show. We'll take a break, but as we go to the break, check out Spin Cycle for Jamie Whincup last Sunday at Symmons Plains.
I've hit the brakes at 150 metres, and first I've locked the rear tyres. So I'm like, should I go the inside, should I not? And I thought, I've got to spin myself around. I wish I could say I meant it. And then just nailed the gas, tyres lit up. And what you don't see is down into 6/8, absolutely no rears.
So it's only early days, but the Blue Oval boys are having a ball.
Yeah, boys. Thank you, Chippy. Unreal, mate. Congratulations, guys. Awesome.
Davison gets his second race win of the year, and Jamie Whincup comes in third.
Will Davison certainly got that winning feeling trading post-racing. Welcome back to V8 Extra. Let's go now back to Queensland. Team Vodafone. Mark Larko standing by up there. Larko, as we said before, it was a weird weekend. And, of course, for many fans, post-race, a lot of chat about the Lowndes versus Davison shunt.
Well, yeah, but before we get on to that, Neil, I really want to ask Roland, I mean, this whole performance of FPR, I mean, how are you enjoying this challenge of having someone that's really sticking it to you at the moment?
It's the first time for a while we've had a consistent challenge. We've had plenty of challenges over the last few years, obviously, but they've been inconsistent. And now FPR are being consistently quick, consistently giving us a fight. And that's only good for everyone concerned. Bring it on.
So what's it meant as a team? Have you had to sort of refocus the way you go about your racing? You're doing anything differently? You've obviously got to lift the bar.
We need absolutely no motivation to beat, more motivation to beat those blokes. Yeah. We're flat out.
All right, now on the flip side of that, I want to ask you about TWR, the Holden Racing team, been a long-time adversary of yours. They're pretty well, I mean, without sounding too rude, they're not nowhere at the moment. What's your read of that?
Oh, look, they've also been inconsistent in the last few years. So, but they're there quite often, and especially Garth drags the car round and puts in some really, really good performances. So I never dismiss them, never ever dismiss them, but they're just not consistent.
One of the issues from Tasmania was the issue of contact. Now, I want to show you some footage. Now, Roland hasn't seen this at home. This is the Tega footage. This is actually from Craig Lowndes' car with the incident with Will Davison. Now, I want you to have a look at this and just give us your read as we come into this turn 4. Now, we may have even been a bit tough, I don't know, on Will Davo down there. Roland, what's your read?
Look, that probably summarises what I thought at the time on the day, that it was a little bit of a 50-50 thing there, that Will was taking his line, which may or may not have been a little bit of a squeeze. Lowndes was trying to keep his momentum going because Winterbottom was behind him. So honestly, afterwards, I don't really apportion blame either way. Yeah, there are other incidents, frankly, which were far more of an issue.
But you were there in the team briefing. No, actually, Adrian was your team manager. You weren't there. But I just thought Thomas Mazur was quite clear about that exact incident that did happen, and it happened. But I know you have a view more so on that incident in race 3, lap 1.
Yeah, where Jamie got a run alongside Winterbottom down from 4 through 5 and into 6, and 5's probably the most dangerous corner in Australian motorsport. And Winterbottom had a good old go at nerfing Jamie off in that corner, and that was just completely out of order.
Yeah, well, I remember we had that big shunt with Larry Perkins there some years ago. Remember when he climbed up out of the car and dusted off his goggles? Well, it wasn't funny, but it kind of was.
Yeah.
Finally, mate, a lot of chat. I walk up and down pit lane, spent half my life there, as you know. A lot of team owners, a lot of engine builders actually starting to bleat a little bit about this issue of economy. It seems to be this endless pursuit of economy, but now we're damaging engines and actually it's costing the sport. Do you think we've gone too far in the economy race?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's always an economy race on occasions. There'll always be times, depending on safety cars and at Bathurst, etc. But we've taken it a bit too far. We need to rewind slightly on it, yes.
Well, hang around, because I've actually gone and had a closer look at your engine shop of some of the consequences and just what this whole economy race means at that end of the business.
Okay. Larko, I'll just jump in there, because one of the things that really amazed us in the commentary box is just how much damage there was on the front left corner of Craig's car after that contact. It really devastated the car.
That's a good point, Neil. We're all blown away by the amount of damage for a little bit of contact. I mean, here's a wishbone, front wishbone roll, and it was quite extraordinary to see how that peeled off the car.
So what happened was the wheels interlocked, and Craig's ran up Will's wheel, and then as it came down, the shock bottomed out, and that's what actually did the damage. The impact was massive as it came back down, that shock loading, and that's what caused the damage that you saw.
Well, there you are, Neil.
All right, boys. Thanks, Roland. Thanks, Larko. Look forward to hooking up with you again very soon. Basically, I think, folks, a racing incident. We do get them from time to time. If you want a second opinion on this, let's go to the break now and have a look at what happened up at Turn 4. And coming back on the other side, we'll go back down to Jack Daniels Racing with Aaron and Todd Kelly. Stay with us. This is V8 Extra.
Again, he creeps over. Yeah, that's going to end in tears.
That's what it is.
Look at that.
Was caused by Will Davison moving over.
Narrow, narrow, narrow. Bam. There's not many times you'll see Craig Lowndes without a smile on his face, even when he's upset.
Sometimes this man makes winning look easy, but this weekend was a much different story. Whincup had to fight for this victory.
Well done, fellas. Tough weekend, but awesome finish. Thanks for putting up with me. Great job, boys.
Jamie Whincup making it 2 for him for 2012. Wins, that is. Welcome back to V8 Extra. Let's go back down to Jack Daniels Racing now in Melbourne. Aaron Noonan standing by. He's hooked up with Todd Kelly. And by the way, boys, happy Easter.
Yeah, Cromley, I've steered myself away from the chalky eggs just for long enough to come down to Kelly Racing and check in with Todd Kelly, who thankfully is going to be in the boat this weekend, Todd. Thankfully you're not on the end. Tell us, though, how's this moon boot going? Because this was a pre-Grand Prix injury. How's it faring?
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's healing up quite well, and luckily I've been able to drive the car okay. I've got a carbon fibre foot plate that goes over the whole thing, and still out there causing a bit of havoc, so it's been good.
On to important matters, the serious stuff. Nissan announcement this week. We know the model of car that you're going to be racing, the Ultima next year. Brother Rick got the gig. Why'd you get stuck here?
No, well, I was fortunate enough to spend a few days over in Japan at Nismo, which was most people's dream to go through that place. I spent 2 days going through the whole facility and looking at race cars and engine dynos and bits and pieces, so had to share it around a little bit. Rick got to go to New York, which would have been an awesome trip as well, but we've always got to keep at least one of us here keeping an eye on things.
Tell us about this new model car. What does it look like? When do we get to see the first racing version?
Well, we've had the CAD of the bodywork for a little while now, probably about a month, and it's an awesome looking car. It'll be the best looking V8 supercar in history, I reckon. It's a whole new model and new shape, something that we've never seen in the sport before. It's a bit of a challenge to try and get it around a V8 supercar and to do all of the bodywork to make it right, but it'll be an awesome looking bit of gear, and even the road car is a fair bit of a statement, so the race car will even be better than that.
What bits do you do here? What bits do you get brought in from overseas?
We're doing all of the design work here. We've got a long way down the track with the engine stuff. We've obviously got to do a completely new engine, which is a Nissan block and cylinder head, which is basically their standard road car parts that we're adapting to a race car, and obviously all the body work. It's a huge project to try and get done in the timeline. The two separate things, the engine and the body work, and designing front spoilers and getting to the point where we can go and do an aero test with the car to get parity is really only months away, and it's all just pictures on a computer screen at the moment.
How are you faring with running a program for 2012, but one eye looking forward to 2013? Is it as tough as it sounds?
Yeah, well, we obviously need to get a little bit more speed out of our current cars and develop what we have now, as well as a new building and engine program and a car of the future build program, and obviously the bodywork one. So if this is the busiest year we ever have, I'll be quite happy because there's a fair bit to get through.
It seems by stealth you're in the top 10 in the championship after last weekend at Symmons Plains. How have you achieved that? Because we had to look at the sheet to figure out you were there.
Well, it's barely. I've managed to scrape through and end up 10th pretty much all the time, which is not good enough. I was pretty good at Adelaide, you know. I was running around 4th or 5th there until I got turned around in the second race, and then we had then we had a wheel nut jam. So Adelaide was good, but I'm going to need a little bit more speed to get right into the top 10, which hopefully we can take into New Zealand, but certainly not the worst start we've had.
We saw a little clash with Tim Slade on Saturday at Symmons Plains. How did that one go down from the cockpit of car 7?
Yeah, that was pretty hairy. I thought he was going into the fence there, and I looked at the footage afterwards and saw it was quite close. And I think one of your cameramen did a few stunts off the back of the mound, so it was good that everyone ended up in one piece after that. And there was plenty of action from my cockpit for sure.
We're running a little bit short on time. You've got heaps of stuff going on here at Kelly Racing. The facility's expanding at a massive rate. Can we check back in next week and have a bit of a squiz around and see what's going on? Is that okay, boss?
That'll be great. I'll give you a tour.
All right, well, he's given us the okay. We're going to come back to Kelly Racing next week, Cromley, and have a look around at the expansion that's going on here at Kelly Racing. Of course, it becomes Nissan Motorsport in 2013.
Thanks, boys. We're certainly looking forward to seeing that car on the grid in 2013. Aaron Noonan and Todd Kelly. Hey, by the way, Aaron, just make mention to Todd, stay away from boat propellers for the next couple of days, will you?
I will make sure he does. We'll keep an eye on him for the rest of the weekend.
All right, thanks, boys. OK, we'll take a break now on V8 Extra. As we go to the break, we sent Rihanna out last weekend to find out what a few of the boys are going to do over the next couple of days.
I'm going to Abu Dhabi with Lethal Lee Holsworth, and of course, we're going to have a bit of fun over there. We're taking our ride car, and we're going to have a bit of fun and see what we can do.
Isn't that exciting? He's the most famous bloke I've ever met, so, you know, spending a bit of time with him is going to be pretty cool.
Plenty of chocolate, and I'll try to get out on the boat.
Yeah, well, on the schedule, I just will spend time with the family, with my two daughters, so definitely I will hide the chocolate behind the trees.
It's a pretty cool time at the Courtney house. Just have to make sure I don't eat all the chocolate.
V8 drivers don't really get holidays as such, but we've actually blocked those 4 days out, so we're going to go up the river and take the boat out, take the Malibu out, but won't be putting the ski on.
We're going to Port Douglas for a week, so hopefully the weather up there is good. It's not raining.
Yeah, we're going to go go-karting, so why not just go to another racetrack while we've got some time off?
We had a pretty full-on start to the year, so I think a little bit of Taz time is in order.
We had a double dose of V8 supercar racing last weekend in Tassie. Races 3 and 4 of the championship. Welcome back to V8 Extra. Now, we've had an email from Steve Burns, our Big Pond Sport email question this weekend. We're always talking about trim and mixture and economy in the telecasts. What does it all mean? OK, to find out a bit more about that, here's a story from Mark Larko, who explains what this whole trim thing's all about.
I'm standing inside this beautiful workshop here, which is actually KRE race engines. Now, Kenny McNamara, owner, good friend of mine, used to actually work for me, ripper bloke, but more importantly, has the huge responsibility of managing the entire Team Vodafone engine program. Now, I want to have a look at how that interfaces with this issue of economy we've been talking about. So what I've done is I've actually nicked Jamie Winkup's steering wheel while I was over there. And look at this. This is the trim switch that we often talk about. Most teams have this on their steering wheel now. And it's got 4 settings, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Generally speaking, you take about 2% of fuel out for each setting. So that means you can take up to 8 or 9% of fuel total out of the engine when you're looking to run really lean. Now, I can tell you, that's not good for anything or anyone other than getting good fuel economy. Bad news for cost. So how does that work in here? Well, we're in a dyno cell. We're in Kenny McNamara's. Here's Kenny. Thanks for letting us in, mate, and having some access. This is a dyno room. This is a dyno cell behind this door. Have a look. There's a Team Vodafone engine sitting on there, ready to roll. Now, what's really important to note here is you've got to try and simulate the engine as it would be in the race car. So this is the most important thing, controlled airflow into the front, and this is the airbox off the race car, so it simulates what's going in. And just as important, the exhaust pipes, exactly the same as the race car, and the muffler, same as the race car, going out. Here are what are called the lambda sensors, the sniffers. These will measure the burnt fuel-air mixture ratio coming out of the engine. And that tells us a lot about what the driver's doing on the steering wheel and the impact it has on the engine. So, Kenny, let's pull the string, as they say in the business, and listen to this thing sing. So what Kenny will do is run it up to 7,500 RPM. That's the maximum RPM that V8 supercar engine's allowed to go to. And if you look on here, you'll see here's our torque reading and here's our power figure coming up. That's where they cross over. 7,500 RPM, absolutely beautiful. Now, the consequence of running lean is an expensive one. These are typical V8 supercar piston. They'll last 3,000 or 4,000 kilometres, no problem. But once you start running lean, looking to get that extra bit of mileage, what happens is this. We're seeing this, look, the piston ring actually melting itself into the piston. Now that's bad news because that coupled to valves being hot, the block getting hot, the heads getting hot is very bad for engine costs. It's something we need to be on top of in V8 supercar land. Now if we have a look at some of these figures that Kenny's taken, those sniffers that I was just showing you, here we are, so around the 0.85, 0.8. This red one is where you would normally run your car. That's fine. When you go to that number 3 or number 4 switch on your steering wheel, you get up into this 0.95 region. That's danger territory. Now, more importantly, is what happens to engine power. You're out there trying to race. Look at this. So this is the difference between those two settings. You're talking 9 or 10 horsepower across 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5. That's the entire range where you really want to be able to use your V8 supercar engine. So there's nothing great about this, I can tell you. We need to get on top of it. But more importantly, forget all that. I just want to hear this engine sing. Let's give it some, Ken.
Mark Larkham reporting there. There you go, Steve. Hopefully that answers your question about the whole business of economy and trim and all the rest of it. We're done for this week on V8 Extra, and let's look to our next event, the ITM 400 on the streets of Hamilton, New Zealand. The last time that we're going to be in Hamilton between April 20 and 22. Check your details there for our telecast times. Our next V8 Extra, looking forward to this one as well. We'll have Lee Holdsworth here with us next weekend, and that is Saturday the 14th. Check your local guides. We'll also be having a big chat to his teammate Shane Van Gisbergen. As we say goodbye for this week, we want to go back to what Roland was talking about earlier in the show. On the outside, Turn 5, Race 4, the battle between Whincup and Winterbottom. Check this out. Bye for now.